Hi, my name is Erin Hayes, and I am the CEO and a producer with Media Boss Television. My desire to be published was what drove me into the media industry. I concentrated mostly in poetry in school, and I really wanted to become a poet. Alliteration and rhyming and finding unique ways to phrase things was sort of what I really enjoyed doing, and that's what writing a gossip column is all about. 2 months after I joined the team at the Herald, half the staff was cut. And then another 3 months after half the staff was cut, a third of the staff was cut. I joined the Herald just as the booming newspaper energy was pittering out. I was born in 1981, right before technology really took off. There weren't cell phones, there were computers, but they weren't in every household. I went through college without a cell phone. All of a sudden, technology sort of caught on like wildfire. This was about the time that I joined the Herald. When I was working with the Herald, I was young enough to know about social media, but I was also, not so saturated in technology. So I introduced social media to the inside track. I was able to really start to promote what they were doing to a larger audience. And that was sort of the first time that they saw that opportunity and that they saw what could become of that. After I left the Herald, I started working with Ian Barrett on the Track Gals television show as a producer. As the show was getting off the ground, Ian introduced me to Paul Boulay. He had worked with Ian in the past and was approaching Ian about perhaps working together again and bringing the television show to his company. So that was sort of my first experience with what became Media Boss. Eventually, I saw the opportunity to stop what I was doing in the technology world and just take a chance and work with Paul and Ian full-time. So I did, and it was very scary. I questioned my decision hourly for a long time. It was the best decision I've made. Ian, Paul, and I say this to each other all the time, is that we're like a tripod, as I'm staring at a tripod right now. You need 3 arms for a tripod to stand. And we each come to Media Boss with different strengths. My strengths fit the title of the CEO. You have to answer to everybody when you own your own business. You have to answer to the people with whom you work. You have to answer to the people that work for you. And you have to answer to your clients. It is not a vacation. On the reverse side of that, there is this sense of accomplishment that you have every single day when you leave the office, because you have complete control over your life. You don't have to answer to anybody. You only have to answer to yourself. Since I've taken over the organization, since I've worked with them, we've gone from 1,500 square feet to an 8,000 square foot studio. Our production has, it's just become incredible. I currently bring my 10-month-old daughter to work, as well as my dog. It's interesting, I do get asked how I balance the work life and the family life, and I think this is something that any person who has a family gets asked, and any person who has a family has to figure out. The way that it's worked for me is that I've made my work with my family. Because I own the company and because of the nature and the culture of this company, I was able to just say, guys, I'm bringing my kid to work 3 days a week because this is the only way that's going to work for me. I am fortunate enough to have a team around me that didn't even question that. They were excited about it. And what's really been surprising to me about bringing Paloma to work is that it has made our team here closer as a family. Paul and Nick love to play with Paloma, and I never ask them to play with Paloma, but they just do. And that's been a really wonderful surprise. And I'll get emotional about it because this is my family. So there is no separation, I guess, for me. Looking back on it, I realized I allowed time to stretch out, and I gave time to people who didn't deserve as much time as I gave them. So I guess that would be one way that I've had to adapt since having a family. When I was maybe 8 or 9, I was talking to my grandfather. I was very close with my grandfather, about what I wanted for my life, because I've always been like this. I've always been driven. I come from a very creative family, but no one went into a creative field, mostly because of fear. I guess that's sort of what drove me to this path, was that I wanted to do something that the rest of my family, I felt, should have. I would say my strength is that I am very outgoing and that I can make conversations with anybody. That's applicable in so many different ways. It was great when I worked for the Herald and I was interviewing big stars and I wasn't intimidated because I was just having a conversation. Having an intern or having an employee who, makes a mistake and feels sorry for themselves about it costs us physical money. It costs us time, and time is money. I look for people who are willing to listen, who are willing to learn, who don't think that they know everything already, because that's a huge handicap when people come to us and they think that they already know everything about production and they're just doing this to get something on their resume. It's an absolute handicap to get into Media Boss, and it's a handicap just in life. Fear of failure drives me towards success. What I strive toward is having at least a positive, I would love a profound, but at least a positive impact on people in order to make this world a little bit better. My next goal is that I want a Media Boss to have a television show, whether it's on Hulu, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's on Amazon, whether it's on ABC, HBO, I don't care. Bob Hope said something that I have always loved. He attributed his success to, I've always been in the right place and time. Of course, I've always steered myself there. So continue to steer yourself to be in the right place and time and do what you need to do in the meantime.